Hey everyone, I hope that you had a nice weekend and you are ready to dive back into the world of English 1. So for today, you are starting off watching this video. Please make sure that you always watch the videos and also watch any video instructions on any of the assignments. Most of you are doing a good job of turning things in as they are supposed to be, but there are a few people who are missing out on some details that I think if you watched the videos, you would pick up on and you wouldn't be losing points. So the first thing we're going to do today is work in Quill. So Quill is the website that we're going to use for grammar. And you might remember that we had originally talked about having on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays doing word parts, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays doing Quill. And honestly, it was mostly fine from a student standpoint, but for the 3 English 1 teachers, it was just getting very overwhelming. So we're just shifting a little bit to just basically doing it week by week. So this week, A Day and B Day classes are all working in Quill. Next week, everyone will work on word parts. Then the week after, everyone will work in Quill. So for you, it's not really going to be anything too drastically different. It's just that even though it's a Wednesday, you are going to be working in Quill and not working with word parts for this week. So I know that most of you have taken the diagnostic in Quill. If you haven't done that yet, then when you follow these instructions and log in, it will have you go ahead and do that diagnostic first. But for those of you who have already done the diagnostic, when you log in, you are going to see a variety of assignments. So when you click on our course, you'll see that there are a bunch of different assignments that are available for you to do. And you can pretty much choose which area you want to work in each day. So it's kind of up to you if you want to work on capitalization or, prepositions or whatever it is that you might need to work on. Each day that we work in Quill, you're expected to complete at least one activity, and that's 6 to 10 questions depending on the activity. Every time you complete an activity, it appears in the teacher dashboard. This is what it looks like for the test student that I created. And so I can go in and it will show me the questions you got right and wrong, the date that you completed the assignment, and so on. So again, you need to complete at least one activity for each day that you have class in a week. So this is the week of 9/8. So today we will complete one, and Friday we will complete one. So they're worth 5 points each. And this is just kind of a quick bell ringer, kind of warm up activity. So this isn't something that you should be spending a ton of time on, probably 10 minutes or so. And once you have finished one of your activities, then go ahead and go on to the next thing in the announcement. So that is Quill. The next thing that you're going to want to do is our journal for today. So we had talked about the fact that we would have daily journals, and we had kind of taken the first couple of weeks off just to get everything organized and get sort of into the flow of things. So now we are ready to start doing journals. So if you follow the link right here, the journal prompt is always going to be well, okay, I don't want to say always, but most often the journal prompt is going to be something that there's really no right or wrong answer. It's just sort of an opinion or maybe a personal experience that it's asking you to draw on or imagine. And oftentimes we have them relate to something that we're reading. So for today, your prompt is, do you think hunting is ethical? Why or why not? And ethical basically just means, is it moral? Is it fair? Is it acceptable? So you can have whatever opinion that you have on it, and you could even sort of split the difference and say, yes, it's okay in these circumstances, but it's not okay in these other circumstances. But you just want to make sure that you're explaining why you think what you think. In order to receive credit for your journals, you do have to write at least 3 complete sentences with proper capitalization and punctuation. Now, If you have just one sentence, I'm going to put a 0 in the gradebook, leave you a comment that says you need to write at least 3 sentences, and you will be able to resubmit. If you aren't capitalizing correctly, same thing. You'll get a 0. I will leave a comment explaining what you need to do, and you'll have to resubmit. That's an awful lot of work for something that should just take a couple of minutes. So please make sure that you just do it right the first time. Capital letter on each of your on the first word of each of your sentences, as well as any time that you use the word I. And make sure that you put periods, question marks, or exclamation points, whatever is appropriate at the end of your sentence. So again, this should only take you maybe 5 minutes at the very most, and then you can move on to the next item in our agenda. So the next thing that we'll be doing today is a vocab review. So if you click the link here, this will take you to vocabulary.com and to this list of most dangerous game vocab words that you can look over. So you can explore the list and just read through the meanings. And then you can also go to this green practice button. And if you click on practice, it will pull up little multiple choice questions for you to quiz yourself. So you can just go through. Each round has 10 questions, you can see down here. And so you can just kind of go through maybe 1 or 2 rounds, just practicing to make sure that you know the words that are in the story. And like I mentioned, some of these words will be on your quiz, which is going to be on Thursday. So make sure that you are reviewing these words and knowing what they mean. Sometimes when go to vocab.com, it has you it might have you sign up for an account if you haven't used it before. And sometimes when that happens, then it defaults you back to just a general list. So if that happens and you're not in the most dangerous game list right down here, make sure then that you come back to the announcement and follow the link again so that you're practicing the correct words, because sometimes it just defaults people into just a general list, and that's not really what you want. You want to make sure that you're in this most dangerous game list. So again, just do maybe a couple rounds. It should take you maybe 5 to 10 minutes to do that. And then we are going to continue to move on with our post-reading questions. So you can follow the link here. And these are questions based on the text, but they ask you to analyze a little bit more deeply and think about things in a more rigorous way than the reading questions. So there are 9 questions here, and this assignment is worth 18 points. You get points for not only your answers, but also your use of proper grammar, complete sentences, and so on. So the first question, when you first meet Rainsford during the story, what is your impression of him? What words would you use to describe him? So that's pretty open-ended as far as whatever you had an impression is a correct answer, but make sure that you're answering both parts of the question and that you're using complete sentences. What is ironic about General Zaroff's statement, "We do our best to preserve the amenities of civilization here"? So remember our definitions of situational irony. Why does Zaroff hunt humans, and how does he justify it? Question 4 asks about symbolism. So symbolism is when one thing represents something else. So for example, if you saw a red 8-sided sign in the middle of the road, you would assume that that means stop, because that shape and color has meaning to us, right? It symbolizes that you need to stop. So a symbol is when one thing stands for something else. So red and black are frequently associated with Zaroff, so you want to think about what could red symbolize and what could black symbolize. Number 5 is another sort of opinion. Is Zaroff a serial killer? Why or why not? So you just want to state your opinion and then explain your answer. 6, after you realize what the prey will become in the story, how does the title of the story change its significance? What is the double meaning of game? So there's sort of a pun there in the title with the word game, and you want to explore that. Number 7, why do you think Zaroff does not look all the way up in the tree where Rainsford is hidden? So this is when Zaroff is hunting Rainsford. Rainsford is hiding up in the tree. Zaroff looks almost all the way up in the tree and then turns around and walks away. Why do you think that he did that? Number 8, how does Rainsford's attitude toward hunting change? Do you believe that Rainsford will ever revert to his earlier opinions of hunting? Again, make sure that you answer both parts of that question. And then number 9, what happens in the end? Is it satisfactory? And if you had the ending, would you have, if you had the opportunity, would you have ended the story differently? So again, remember to answer all parts of the question and answer them in complete sentences. I do ask that when you answer your questions that you put them in a different color font or you put them in a bold font so that they stand out from the questions. So it makes it a little bit easier for me as I'm going through and grading. So these will be due basically by Friday. I would prefer that you have them done before you take the quiz, but if you need to turn them in after the quiz, that's okay. But they are due by the end of the day on Friday. The last thing that I have for you for today is a review for our quiz, which is going to be on Thursday. So if you click this link, it will take you to quizzes. And if you've never used quizzes before, it's kind of like Kahoot or, any of those sort of little games. You'll just enter your name and click start. And I'm going to turn down the volume. So you don't actually have to wait for anyone to join. You can just go ahead and click start because this is a self-guided quiz. So you'll get the question and then you will come up with your answer. So Zaroff emphasizes how civilized he is, yet his behavior is anything but civilized. What literary device is being used here? So I know that this is not a metaphor. This is not foreshadowing. This is not a simile. This has to be situational irony, where what happens is the exact opposite of what you expect. Okay. And so it'll tell you, if you're right or you're wrong. And then as other people complete the review, there will be a leaderboard and you'll be able to see how you're doing compared to other students. But the questions come up in different orders each time. You can play this as many times as you would like. The questions I think are very helpful for the quiz. So I highly recommend going through this at least one time, if not more, before Thursday. So that is all we have for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to call in to the Zoom question and answer time, which is 8:45 to 9:05. You can also always send me a Canvas inbox message or an email, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will talk to you all on Friday.